Welcome to the Powered by Factum podcast. I'm Kyle Fuller, and I'm in the studio with David Zapata today.
Hello.
And we are going to have a really fun conversation about the topic of the hive mind. Now, we got a pretty unique community here, David. What we teach here, a lot of people think we're just life insurance salesmen, but really we're a leadership development company that sells insurance.
Mhm.
And part of our beliefs is that the occupation area of life, which we love what we do, is very important. But it's not the only thing. We want abundance in all areas of life. And that's what's drawn some really cool, very unique, very brilliant people to our community. And from there, you've really curated this term that our leadership team uses, which is the hive mind. Let's dive into that. What does that even mean?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I like it better when you describe us as the SEAL Team 6 of life insurance. That's my preferred way of thinking about it. This is a really fun aspect of our culture, man. It's something that I think we should be very proud of. I think it's something that we need to continue to communicate more often because it's going to be, number one, a great filter for people in our community, people that align with the values of that hive mind, of collaboration, of creative thought process. I think number two is going to be something that orients our present and our future, even for future generations. It's probably something that we could quickly pull some research on companies that have dramatically changed their results and their destiny by changing aspects of their culture that they forget where they come from. So I think this is going to always lead us in a path of health for the culture of the company. And then the most important part for me is that at the end, the results of this piece of our culture reflect in a better customer experience, better value for our clients and our community, and a healthier way to teach people our framework, our education, and also to think. So when we talk about hive mind, what we're talking about is a simple belief. I believe two things around this. There's no one better at being David Zapata than me. There's no one being better at being Kyle Fuller than you. And in recognition of that, I appreciate and I'm in deep gratitude of the gifts that God gave me intellectually, physically, and I'm grateful for the gifts, the uniqueness that God gave you and the fact that we are sitting next to each other.
Mm.
And in recognition of that, the second part is that I know for a fact that there's no better product that I could come up individually by myself in comparison to what you and I could do together if we put our gifts and our minds together with what God gave us in the pursuit of excellence and in the pursuit of more value for others. So that is a simple belief. You may hear that and think, that's through conversation. For us, it's a very serious conversation because it explains how we do processes in our company, how we think about innovation. It explains how we keep a respectful and a grateful attitude for every one of our peers and our agents and our leadership team and our support systems folks. And it also explains the fact that we see our clients in our community not only as people we serve, but eventually people we build with. Some of our greatest ideas have come from feedback of people that we serve saying, hey, you should consider X, Y. And because our mindset is we are always going to be better by bringing all these minds together, we actually pay attention, listen. We go and see different examples, and then we continue to curate better and better products.
Yeah, I think it speaks to one of our core values too, which is the unrelenting innovation. We're always looking to make something better. And the collaboration there is so key. It's not even, it is non-negotiable. We are a collaborative company. That's just who we are. We don't view competition like a lot of people do. We only look at collaboration. Like we're kidding ourselves, David, if we think there's a shortage of people to help in our country. 300 million US citizens, like what are we fighting over? 30 million small business owners. Let's find the colleagues of ours that want to collaborate. Let's figure out how to put 1 + 1 together and create 11, not 2, which is another one of our beliefs. And that's really what we've done here with this hive mind, with our leadership team, with our agents. It's why we do 2 live agent masterminds every year, one in the spring that's more focused on industry related topics, and one in the fall that's more business owner related, how to actually run an insurance business.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we bring all these ideas together. We get feedback. We open up a discussion. We go back and forth. It's also why we love attending Truth Concepts. I don't think there's a better training for insurance agents than Truth Concepts. You go there and they're so willing to hear different thought processes. And the feedback that Todd has gotten from agents has allowed him to build some amazing calculators that we all use and benefit today. That is a hive mind approach there.
Yeah.
And we've loved this so much because the results we've gotten from it have been so massive that for 2024, we're putting more intentional focus on going deeper into that with leadership retreats, agent masterminds, where we want the best ideas to come up, not to stay, I'm going to say the word below, right? We want them to come up and into the group, share those so that we can take it, enhance it, and give it to everyone. And this is it's an abundance conversation.
Yeah.
And so you were saying some of the projects that you and I have been working on individually, they were good,
Yeah, of course.
but they did not become great or jaw dropping until we put ourselves in a room and we started just talking, bouncing ideas. What if we did this? What if we changed that? And between the two, we took the one, which was you, the one, which was me, and we put that together. And now we have things like the digital well scorecard, monthly policy tracking, the new 8 benefits conversation. There's been so many things that we've worked on that now when people see the final project, it's hard to believe.
That has never been here. That has always not been here before. Yeah,
It
it's
used to
amazing.
exist on a sheet of paper
Yeah.
or a whiteboard or something small, but now it's out there on a bigger stage and multiple people are benefiting from it. I mean, isn't that, but that goes back to our purpose with what we're doing here. Isn't that fun
Yeah. It's
that we're
amazing.
in that creative space? And this is what we actually do for an occupation.
Mm.
I mean, I know that's important to you.
Well, let's talk more about that because the other part is that this sounds really, really nice and really warm, but it's not easy to set a culture like this. Like if you think about it, I think it takes a little bit of leadership and consistency over time for people to actually believe this is a sustainable path, to give away your best products, your best understanding. Like you mentioned, some of these things that we put together, they're available to every member of our team. We've actually opened up some of these things to people outside of our team,
Yeah.
just to elevate their thinking, to go and create new things, to serve more people. I love that realization you have. Like, even if you and I went to the court of the champions and they said, we are the best life insurance the world salesman the world has ever seen, the best practitioners, no one is better. We couldn't serve as many people as need this. We still need a community of people, professionals that want to serve at the same high level that you and I want to, all the people that need our help. And in that recognition, again, humility to say, we probably can serve them the best when we put our heads together. And I think we found very successful ways, very successful projects on doing this. And now I think it's exciting to think about 2024 of opening now that opportunity to more and more people and intentionally inviting them. For example, one of the things that I'm super excited about is the library of content in our courses at Factum, right? You've done a significant amount of work. I know it's probably underappreciated many times, hours and hours, 15 hours probably of recorded courses, concepts, calculators. And now you're saying, this is not just my ideas and my perspective. Let's bring valuable perspectives from other voices, other points of view, other ways to use these tools to bring value to for others that can hear, maybe not Kyle, but they want to hear somebody else, Mark, or somebody else in our team. I am very excited because that is an expression of the culture now being translated into the reality of how we execute the business. And it's not easy. Again, I am the first one to raise my hand. I come from 12 years in a corporate business in the aviation industry where the winner was the person that intellectually could overpower everyone else in the room. Smartest argument, the smartest idea, the best slide, and you're right and you're wrong. And there's a competitive nature to business, obviously. But I think choosing to say our edge, our way of really having an infinite framework in this space is to create more innovation, create more value at a pace that is really hard to keep up, particularly when you think about community and culture. We don't have to compete. People that choose to work with us, they see the value on being part of our community, on having access to our tools, and they align with our values in our framework. And that is not a competitive argument. That is just saying, I want to be part of this, and we just never stop that pursuit of creating more and more of it. So like you said, I intentionally change my career because I wanted to be in an environment where I had freedom of my time, but more importantly, freedom of creating my environment around me, freedom of having the people around me to work with on those things that I chose to be around. Right. And that to me was very valuable. So when I look at my book of business and I look at my clients, these are people that I not only think they needed infinite banking in whole life, they wanted probably alignment with someone like me, with someone part of our community that had access to that constant drive for growth. I think about the monthly deep dives. I don't have many people, many companies coming to me every month and saying, "Hey, I want to bring a new idea to you that might be valuable to you." Constantly delivering that. That is a significant effort we make in our company to do that. But it's not going to stop. It's only going to get better. And that comes from a place where our culture is defined by recognizing the hive mind.
Isn't it so much fun too? Like it's hard to imagine other companies not doing something like this. And this is like no new idea, right? We talk a lot about the American values that exist in whole life. If you look at the benefits and how that asset works, it is perfectly in line with why America was founded, early principles of privacy, self-reliance, all these things that we love and appreciate. And we're trying to bring back to the forefront of American minds. There was a really good book called The 5,000 Year Leap. And during COVID, one of my business partners started putting on some classes with a certified constitutionalist.
Mm.
And so it was a good chance for a lot of us to get together and learn more about the early years of America, the Constitution, rights, everything. And it was fascinating to come learn from this guy. And during that, we all read the book, The 5,000 Year Leap. And it's so fascinating that you look at, and he's got this great example of this rope. It's a long rope, like 30 feet. And there's little things hanging from the rope at certain times. So like this segment in the beginning was early days of the world, whatever. And this thing was invented. And then this thing was invented. And they're all inventions that we know. Like, oh yeah, that would have been revolutionary for that time period. And then you look at the time frame from when America was founded and how many amazing inventions exploded in such a short amount of time, a few hundred years, versus what had happened in the previous 5,000. It was this compound effect like you've never seen it. And I feel like this is exactly how we're trying to structure Factum to make sure that's what continues to happen so that there is no suppression of ideas, because a lot of our best ideas come from the ground, right? The people who are on the ground, talking to clients, having conversations, changing families, building family banking systems. And you're like, how are you teaching this? What tool are you using? Can we build that and help you enhance it to give that to more people?
Yeah.
And think about, let's just say the Wealth Scorecard. Let's think about some of the slides that we've built together. Family banking, the new 8 benefits foundational slide. Think about how many families are already affected from that. Now obviously Factum is a leadership development agency. Our leadership team's primary focus is to help insurance agents grow their business. How many insurance agents and future ones will be affected by the tools that we've built in the last year? I mean, isn't that a cool thought?
Yeah.
And to me, like if you take the money out of it, because obviously we're here to make a profit and one of our core values is mutually owned. We want agents to have profit share in this organization. The same way a mutually owned insurance carrier works. The policyholders get the dividends. Well, let's build an agency for agents where it behaves the same way. But isn't it cool that although that's there, the driving force for at least I know you and I, it's not necessarily, that's a huge bonus. Love that. But I think we do it because that's just our innate nature. That's how God made us. And so we're just developing those talents to give them. And that's an abundant conversation. There's no scarcity. And like you said, that's not easy to get to that point, and we have to work at it every single day. But you stay focused on that abundance. And if people truly believe in abundance, is there ever resources that you run out of?
Yeah.
It's infinite. Because you can have an idea and I can have an idea and we can put those ideas together to create something that didn't exist before. That's infinite. That can never go away.
Yeah.
The mentality has to be there though.
Yeah, let me stretch that exercise forward because I think that's a really exciting future. So what if not only we have a team that has this culture and continues to pull things forward, but it is very likely, Kyle, that we haven't even met smarter people with greater degrees of conviction and confidence, better understanding, more specific niches of application that are going to be more successful than what you and I can ever imagine, right? That are about to join our business that we have not even met. Maybe they're not even born yet,
Right.
right? And in that thought, again, this is why this kind of culture is difficult to sustain because you have to have the confidence and the humility to say, you and I work every year, every month on becoming more relevant, more useful to other people, right? We continue to work on our skills so we can teach things better, we can create. But when you think about more talented people, more useful people, you can choose fear and you can choose jealousy and you can choose to push them away, or you can actually say, I'm going to celebrate, embrace the fact that we are so lucky to be living among other people that bring more to the table even, and we can put our heads together and there's so much abundance that we can all participate. And instead of going on the negative, focusing on the positive aspects of it.
Right.
I think that, again, when I think about the aspects that will navigate our culture to success in the next 50 years, let's say, will be to remember year after year that Hive Mind principle. The new people that we bring into our business that bring incredible amounts of experience, talent. It would be so easy to be jealous of somebody like Wade, for example, right? Like, how are you and I are going to catch up to everything that Wade knows? You can't.
You can't.
You
It's
know, like,
impossible.
he's compiled this over 30 years of experience in the industry. But the feeling I don't get is jealousy. The feeling I have is, man, I am so lucky. This guy wants to hang out with us, that he wants to teach us what he knows, that he wants to pour into me to make me better. How lucky are we? And all I think about is how can I become more valuable today so I can share a little bit with him,
Yeah.
right? And again, that is an intentional decision to say, we are not going to go to scarcity and competition. We're going to remain in the abundance and creative plane. And this might be also my spiritual relationship with God, but like, that's how I want to live my life. I don't have to take anything from anyone to grow.
Yeah.
And I don't believe anyone has to take. I think there's always more value to be created, which is the only way to elevate all boats.
Yeah. I think on what you just said is so profound because we love the idea of life including 5 areas, and you need abundance in all of those areas. But you'll hear it throughout our team and in our community that I would say most, if not everyone, believes the most important area is the spiritual area of life. That's the purpose-driven part. That's the higher up relationships, whatever you believe in. It could be God, it could be a higher power. And that's where I think as long as that piece is in line, everything else falls into place. Because like you said, this is how you were created. It's how I was created. We've spent some good amount of time with some spiritual coaches that have helped us unlock some of these things, working with Tammy. And you start to understand all the unique things that exist in us. And it's why competition is such an interesting conversation, right? Why would I try to compete against a David? We don't have the same skill set. We're not even built the same. But we come together and we figure out how we can work together. And suddenly there's something way bigger that exists that was previous. That part is so fun. I think, and you alluded to it, we're having a blast right now with our agency. Like when we show up to certain events, Truth Concepts, N&I, like we always turn a few heads just because our team is a little bit younger, a little bit louder. We have fun. Our culture is just different.
Yeah.
People can feel it. They sense it. Our trainings and our masterminds are different than what you'd expect at a typical life insurance mastermind. And it's attracted some amazing people. But the part that is so intriguing about the unknown in the future is, like you said, there could be some of the best leaders here at Factum that aren't even born yet.
Yeah.
Like there is no end game for what we're building. I'm planning on committing 70 years to this just to build it as big and good as we can to make sure this education and what we teach gets perpetuated for our clients as well. There has to be someone there to continue to service those families that we're working with when we go multi-generational. So there has to be a long-term vision built into that with leadership. And some of the best and brightest minds are not even here yet.
Yeah.
But you can guarantee that we're going to welcome them. Never look at it as competition. We always look at it as this is the next right person to join the team. Now we're really ready to rock and roll.
Think about that. That's a really important thing you just said there. Like even the business itself, the compensation structure of the company is set up for this when we talk about mutually owned companies, right? Like how many businesses can you go join and think you're going to outperform your boss, outperform your superiors, and then be welcomed
right
by the rest of the team without any opposition or animosity? Like we're talking about a company where like if somebody came tomorrow, Kyle, and and we're mentoring, let's say. And the only prerequisites, by the way, values alignment and willingness to have activity and effort and willingness to go and develop their knowledge and understanding. That's the only prerequisite.
Yeah.
You have to be willing because we believe you're capable if you have the right values aligned. But more importantly, if somebody came and started producing $5 million a year, you and I would not be upset at all. And we would actually celebrate someone that can go and outperform and do amazing things. Because number one, it's not a culture of competition. It just be now evidence that you and I can do the same. So it would
Right.
be actually exciting to have that example. But more importantly, when you celebrate someone like that in a company that's structured like ours, one boat rising like that rises profit share for everyone. It creates more value and opportunity, strengthens our relationship with the insurance carrier. It brings more members to our community. We are set up in a way where we are not just talking that this is just a belief. Our business infrastructure is laid out that way to reflect that value because that is how we want that belief to influence our processes, how we conduct business, how we bring value to the community.
It's the greatest, and it gets me so excited. I love waking up every day building this because there is so much potential in it. I mean, it's already happening. We're past the most dangerous stages by now, which is a good feeling, and there's a lot of unknown going forward, but we have the right team. We're attracting phenomenal leaders as we speak into this mission. We
Yeah.
just had some really big partnerships be solidified. It was incredible. And it's just getting more and more exciting for everyone. And I just love the idea of building something that's bigger than any one person, right?
Mm.
And nothing against people who name teams after themselves. Like you'll have the
Yeah.
Kyle Fuller or whatever life insurance team. That's never something I wanted. And so I love that we have Factum because Factum is not relative to one person, right? Factum is an organization that eventually you and I will not even be working in.
Yeah.
Maybe some of our kids will.
Yep.
We've helped to build it, steward it for the time being, but this eventually will be transitioned to someone else, probably more worthy, smarter, better leaders than us. We'll have a lot of the early groundwork done, but I love that idea of perpetuating something
Mm-hmm.
generation to generation. And you have to structure things differently when you want to build something like that. There is no exit plan. So that changes the way that you would operate a business for one. And with the long-term values that we have through knowing and understanding whole life, we've just blended a lot of those into the company here at Factum, including getting some good stewardship and counsel from the CEO of One America.
Right.
Now, a company that's been around since 1876, that's been profitable for 130 years, has massive liquidity pools. That company operates differently than your average
Yeah.
business sitting in America. And so we have to think and behave differently. And that's part of the reason why we built our profit share model. Part of the mutually owned is we want our agents to really not just feel like they have a piece of this, but they do through the Hive Mind. We disperse profits, and we also want to encourage the best and brightest ideas to come to the forefront. Because if we can get that idea and get it in the hands of more people, like you said, one agent that's now more profitable because X agent over here shared an idea, their income goes up, which means the income of Factum goes up, which means more profit share for everyone. Isn't that a cool idea?
It's fantastic. I mean, is where these tools that we have available to anyone that joins our team come from, right? Like you and I wanted to help our clients get more aware through the Wealth Scorecard, for example. But it's not lost to me that if I can affect every single agent in our company become more effective at what they do through that tool, all boats rise with the tide.
Yeah.
And I think, again, is what creates the incentive to bring more value from your unique set of gifts to the whole team. And I think the more we incentivize that, the more we're going to realize we were not tapping properly into the potential we had around us. There's always that realization, right? Like, I cannot wait to see what comes from the content, the production, the ideas from our team that we cannot see right now. When we're having this conversation in a year and 3 years, we're going to be shocked. My God, all along, those things were sitting in front of us. And because of our culture, we've been able to unfold those gifts.
It's so fun. I mean, just look at, we talked about this often, but look at January 2023 to January 2024 right now.
Yeah.
Factum's been around 5 years, and there's a compound effect to everything. But the amount of things that were released last year that I will say are life changing for agents. Like the agents that are coming to our masterminds that are seasoned, they're not newbies by any means. They're seasoned and they see just a couple of the tools we have. I mean, they're like just drooling to get their hands on some of these things. That happened in a year.
Yeah.
Imagine when we get to that point where we have 5,000 agents. What kind of ideas are floating around then with bigger conventions, more resources directed at finding better information? And I think a big part of it too is just it's our passion for this type of stuff, but also the life insurance industry. We are in an industry that just has not been innovated hardly. And you and I are really looking to change that, which is what's happening right now and
Yeah.
why some people are looking at some of these tools we have and they're saying, how did you guys create this? Like, and it's sitting right there. Like you said, it was sitting there all along.
Yeah.
Just no one looked at it in the right light to really bring this up. And yeah, it gets me beyond excited to think where we're going in just the next few years because we're in that boom right now.
Yes. On purpose and focused and intentionally choosing a path that, again, incentivizes everyone to bring their best forward, share it, believing in the creative process. That's what I keep going. I wake up every morning. It's like, I not only have the freedom, but how lucky am I that I can bring my best idea to you. I walk in your office and say, hey, what do you think of this? And instead of having fear that you're going to take it away from me or there's none of that.
Yeah.
There's none of that. There's only, we're going to make it better by bringing it together, bouncing it, testing it, breaking it. And then 6 months later, we're laughing and having a podcast where we're like, oh, wow, where did that come from? Right? Like we're doing now. And we talked about this often. You share in a previous episode that we recorded how your neighbor, your dad's neighbor is now talking about what your family's doing. Like, I'm fascinated by the idea that what comes out of something that seems maybe irrelevant, a conversation one day, months ago, and it translates into a project that translates into conversation in your family. Like now, the effects of that probably will be impacting families beyond what you and I know, and that we'll never see. And I think that's, again, if we had a society where everyone did that,
Imagine
with the
that.
things they love, it doesn't have to be whole life, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be financial, whatever it is that you'd love to do, and you change your perspective to go to a creative plane, you bring people into your world that align with those values, with those beliefs. And we all just focus on how can I be more valuable for my neighbor, for my business partner? How much better would the world be versus what we experience sometimes today?
Absolutely. That's an exciting and compelling vision, right? Is thinking about that future. And that's exactly what we're setting out to build. And I think one of the best ways for insurance agents to come and experience this, the best way to do it is you got to come to one of our live masterminds.
Yeah.
You can tie into some calls. We can send you some videos on the overview of the systems, processes, coaching, training, the innovative projects we built. But until you get in the room with our team and you see this stuff happening live, right? Because that's when you get to feel it. And that's what I would encourage agents listening to this that are intrigued by this conversation of Hive Mind. Well, what are you going to do about it now? The education here is great, but the implementation we know is where you really start winning. So
Yeah.
I would say if you can, do your best to come out to one of our spring industry masterminds or the fall business owner mastermind. The spring one we usually do in Indianapolis, right at the home office of One America, the carrier we like to work with. And the one in the fall is usually here in Arizona. I don't foresee that changing anytime soon.
Mhm.
But come out and spend a couple of days with our team. See the new projects we unfold every 6 months. Experience the community, what we focus on, what we don't focus on, the way we speak about this culture and this community here. You'll feel it and you'll know if this is the right home for you almost immediately.
Yeah.
I think those types of decisions are made with your gut. You can feel it that this is where I need to be. And if you think about all the agents that are with us now, it's pretty much their exact story. They
Mhm.
came out, they experienced it, and as soon as they did, they knew this is exactly where I want to be. It's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about growing naturally like this is you attract the right type of people to your community. You'll know within a matter of minutes if you're a good fit for this culture or not.
Yeah.
And we'll know it too.
At a minimum, you'll discover that you're the smartest person in the room and you'll hate it.
Yeah.
Or it'll inspire you to create your own culture in your team, large or small, or say, you know what, there's one of the things that we talk about often is like one of the greatest value propositions of joining our team is that there's so many of these things already available to you to hit the ground running day one. that the cost of acquisition of doing it yourself is so high, right? That you would say, okay, this makes sense because I align with the values. I like the leadership team. I like how these people talk and treat each other. But also, can I start my business day one or restart my business if you're already in this industry with all these tools to make my effectiveness jump and take a leap, not incremental, but a leap? I think that you can only see that when you sit in the room and then you experience it, see the examples around you. But at a minimum, I think it'll be a great way to build community with other professionals in our industry and get inspired, hopefully, by some of the things we're doing here.
Absolutely. And just going back to one of the values we brought up earlier, which is just abundance and collaboration. Like, please come out and look at our stuff. Even if we're not a good fit, take something that would benefit you from what you're seeing us present and go take it back to your practice, take it back to your state. Like, we are all about the life insurance industry, right?
Mhm.
It's not just IVC, not just whole life. It's just good, sound education. It's collaborative nature. We need more agencies banding together and collaborating. There's just so much bickering and nonsense that exists out there. And I would say if we're going to talk competition, our competition is not our own industry.
No, not at all.
That's the frustrating part is there's so much noise happening that we're truly here to just enhance the life insurance industry for as long as we're going to be here. And if that means you come out and we're not a good fit for you, great. But please come and learn something that we're doing that can enhance and grow your own individual agency or your book of business. We are more than happy to share all of this because we embrace abundance. There's no secrets here. It's all collaborative. Go do you as good as you can do it, right?
Mhm.
Nobody can copy what we've built. You have to build this right. It has to be built from the ground up. You cannot accelerate this. It has to be built properly. So just like we were referencing Wade, who runs our coaching and training division, one of our great mentors,
Yeah.
you can't speed up a 35-year career like that. It has to be earned
Mhm.
with the experience. And that's what makes Wade so incredibly unique. Now, he can accelerate us,
Yes.
but there's no way that we can catch him in a time conversation. It's impossible. No one else can do the same to us, which is why there's no fear of somebody copying what we're doing. Take what you can, go use it to bless the people in your community, your lives, and we're going to sleep really well knowing you got some good ideas from us at the least.
Yeah, you and I joke that there's no stage we can be in where we wouldn't feel a little better if Wade was sitting in the audience for just in
Right.
case,
Mm-hmm.
right? As much as we work on understanding and knowing this, there's that level of community that, you know, there's power in the hive mind. And you and I have been, by the way, this is something we do as well, right? Like we go and talk to other professionals, other industries. We've sat in calls where the person doesn't want to show us the latest version of their software because they're worried we're going to steal it, or
Yeah.
they don't want to open the kimono to their business because it's their secret sauce. And that's their culture. And we quickly have identified those calls don't need to be more than 12 minutes because
Yeah.
that's just not going to fit our culture. We've been in places when you talk about competition, from a stage to 2,000 people, the head of the conference is saying whole life insurance
Yeah.
is terrible, is a morbid product. No counter thought, no opposite view, no intellectual honesty. We have all these examples of all this competition, air quotes, there around us. And it's a waste of time to be going back and forth with people that have 90% of alignment in our values, in the way we see this product, in the way we see American conservative values on how to save, blah, blah, blah. And you go back and forth about specifics about how to do this instead of shifting our perspective and saying, hey, if you and I put our heads together, we could explain this to a level that people have never seen. We can make it entertaining. We can make it exciting. And we can go actually fight the voices that are talking nonsense from a stage, misclassifying and misinforming the public about how valuable this could be for their family and business.
Absolutely. And it's a part of our culture that I think is addictive. And I think it's a breath of fresh air for a lot of people out there. We just don't operate like everyone else does. And that's very intentional. And so if you enjoyed this podcast episode today, which I hope you did, make sure to follow our podcast channel so you can get the future episodes that come out. And more importantly, take action. Reach out to us. Send us an email at info@factumfinancial.com. Inquire about one of our live agent masterminds. If you're an insurance agent listening to this, come and attend our spring industry mastermind, our fall business owner one. We'll welcome you with open arms. We'll give you all of our secrets, all of our tricks, all of the tools that we have. Just take it, do whatever you want with it. Go bless the community and family that you're working with, and we'll call it a day.